Welcome to Pardon Me Garden, and I thought I'd shoot a quick set of videos about what can be done with a shaving horse such as this one, and also with a pole lathe. There's one in there but it's buried. So we'll start with the shaving horse, what it is and what you can actually make with it. So a shaving horse is basically a clamp. You can see you've got these two arms, 4 legs on this particular example. You can have one at this end, and the legs at this end are slightly longer and slightly splayed out to give it more stability. This is made out of bits of cleft ash, various different vintages. See the different colours. This bit's really fresh. You can make it with hand tools, but this one's been done with a chainsaw. You can see the marks left. And this has been in the workshop and it's got car body overspray and all sorts of stuff on it. This is the platform, this is the clamp bar, and you can turn that round the other way because all this actually comes apart. It's quickly demountable, and these wooden pegs here, you can take those out. Those are the pivots, and you can just see there you've got another pair of mounting holes so you can move the thing in relation to this far end to get clearance should you need it. See, that runs up against these legs. That's a bit of ash, that's a bit of oak, which is your booster. And that's your chock. That's your platform, which is very fresh green ash. That's a bit of old road pin, which goes in either one of these 2 holes, again to change the relationship with the different parts. And it fits fairly tightly in these holes, and see they're angled. It's looser in this one, so that, plonk that in there, look. Your platform is free to move up and down without displacing the pin. So the idea is, that goes under there, and then your piece of work goes in here. Sit your bum on the back of the seat, put your feet on there, excuse the horrible crocs, and then you work with your draw knife on this. And you can use your booster for thin bits, or remove it for fat bits, move this backwards and forwards, change the relationship. What that pin does, it can be a piece of dowel, or a piece cleft and shaven down like those. It basically stops the platform from running towards you and into your nether regions if this for some reason gives way or your job slips. So this basically stays where you put it. So that is a rough overview of the shaving horse, and I wanted to show it to you because the other day I went to a display come open day from Dorset Coppice Group, and I sat and talked to people. Basically sitting on the shaving horse is much better than just sitting around or just accosting people as they walk by. I hear the draw knife working, and nice people that they were, they came up and talked to me. So I told them what I do for a living, and I'm available for hire, and basically made a load of these. And each one of those is one of these. Little spar hook with a hook handle, which I made years ago, and you can maybe see the shine on it. That's never been polished. It's had occasional treatment with vegetable oil, but that's entirely polished by use of it in my hands. I use this hook quite a lot. It's a nice little hook. And you can see that in the pole lathe you start with a lump of ash like this. The week before I went to the display, which was now 2 weeks ago, on the 20th of May 2023, this was a tree. So basically you cleave your material down, you split it, Imagine this was a round, and this would be cleft again to give you a blank, a little like this, which I didn't use because there's a big knot in it. And the reason you cleave it rather than use sawn material is because your round of timber, look at this lump of ash here, which I use as a little chopping block, it splits more around the circumference than it does across the diameter. You can see that the centre is offset here. So that's because, it splits because the fact that it shrinks more around the circumference, and that sets up forces that try and pull it apart. So it's shrinking around the centre. But if you cleave it, say if I cleft it across here and then into a quarter, it would be free to shrink that way without the other parts of the circumference opposing it. So the tendency to split is almost completely removed. If you look at here, which was split when it was totally green, no splitting. So this I would cleave again into a quarter, or perhaps take its nose off and then cleave it again. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that show you actually doing that. And at this stage I would use a froe, which is one of these. Plonk it on there to cleave his nose off, and then smack him with a beetle like that. Not with a steel hammer, you can see where that's happened in the past. And it's basically swollen the top of this and dished it, because this is fairly soft material with a hardened edge on it. This one was blacksmith made, come from my granddad originally. So this must be getting on for 100 years old. No maker's name on it or anything. But you can see the hammer blows on it from where it was forge welded and forged down. To start your splitting in your round, you use a splitting wedge, this time hit with a steel hammer, and that would plonk in there. And this one is sharpened, has an edge on it, because this is a small one that's very, very worn. Started off like this one. You see the wear on it, it's gone down to that. Again, that's quite an old piece of kit, again came from my granddad. Again, there's lots of videos that show you how to cleave on YouTube. So when you get from that down to something like, where is it? That, you basically attack it with a billhook or an axe, or in this case, a side axe. This is a Kent pattern side axe. And you can see the whole thing is flat on one side and the other side, and the handle is swayed. And this is a handle I made myself, and this is again done on that machine with a draw knife. So you rough it out with that, and then you make your handles, usually in 2s or 3s, with your draw knife. And these are draw knives over here. A big one, which is a gill pin with the original handles on it. I know these are original. They came from my granddad. It came from my granddad. And this one is not had very much use, but this one probably started life at something like that. It's almost completely worn out. You see it's almost completely gone. Possibly original handle on the left here. This one's a replacement. They're both probably beech. This one's split, but it's still completely firm. And I occasionally use this. Original ferrule. But this has been put on hot and even though it's split subsequently, it's still completely firm. And you see it's blind, it's got no washer on it, and the end isn't peened over. Another one here, found in a car boot sale. And you can see it's had a replacement washer on that end, which was on it when I got it, but this handle was cracked and it broke off, and you can see where I welded it and then replaced it. So use the draw knife on there, and you can make your Billhook handles like this. So this one here, it's got waste, which is a bit that you basically have over the edge to hold on to. Don't have to, but it makes it easier. This bit here had a little bit of a knot just here, so I worked around that. A section of waste in the middle, and you can see the two handles, one there, bit of waste, and you can adjust the length depending on the length of the tang that you have on your hook. You see it? And the tang is supposed to go all the way through, like on this. So sitting there in the day talking to people, it takes about 20 minutes to rough out a pair of these, sitting on there nice and gently. And I made 15 handles, some in pairs during the day, and they're the pale ones, because those are now seasoning down. The darker ones have been about for various lengths of time, and the various states of seasoning. From 10 or 12 years old, like this one, which had a ferrule put on it as a demonstration, and you put the ferrule on after it's seasoned, because it basically shrinks when it's seasoning, but it doesn't split, remember. And these are quite old. Basically, you make it, if it's for you, to fit your own hand, and that would fit me quite well. You can see the ends of my fingers are clearing the ball of my thumb, but it's not too fat. This hook was a round handle. These made on a copying lathe, and that's a bit of beech, and this is much too fat for me. Using that would make my hand tired. The other issue with round handles are that they come pre-drilled with a big hole, and basically they don't fit very well on the sides of your hook. And you can see where the driver was on the end there, that cross shape. And here, made and fitted myself, pre-drilled, like on this one, with a long series drill from that end and then the other end. But you can see this one has gone off slightly. The art is to get them to meet up in the middle if you haven't got a drill to go all the way through. So that's not really usable. But this one, you can see where it's a snug fit on both sides of the hook, as well as top and bottom. Basically you pre-drill, and then you heat up the tang of your hook, making sure not to get too much heat into the blade, which has been heat treated and tempered in the factory 100 odd years ago. And basically it burns a hole of the right size and shape. This is another one with a round Borton handle, which doesn't fit right. This will work loose. If we pick this one up and drop it, hear the rattle? The handle's loose. Drop that one, just goes clink. Hear the difference? So that's a little spar hook. Parks of Birmingham. Another spar hook, slightly bigger, made by William Swift. And this one is I don't know, no maker's name, it may well be French. Oh, hang on. There's a tiny little maker's name on there, which I can't read, but someone stamped their initials on it. This one's a Fuzzles, West Country make, British. This one we'll come back to. This one's also a Fuzzles, Fuzzles improved. And this is my coppicing hook, and basically it's handle split. This is a bought handle someone's put on there years ago. It's got dry, and you can see inside it, see as it's rusted. The whole hook has been sitting and rusted. I've cleaned this up a bit, and it's basically split it. And it was also a handle for a half-tang hook. This hole here in the ferrule is to allow you to drill it and put a rivet in, because the tang doesn't come all the way through on a half-tang hook. They're not nearly as good, not nearly as secure, don't last as long. You can see where, because I've got little hands, I shaved this down to suit me. See him? That fits me. There's another one with a handle I made. That has again been sitting in the workshop. Got carbide overspray on it. And that's a little bit big for me, but it works. There's a ferrule made of tubular steel, not actually a bought ferrule. So, just to recap, you can make handles for all sorts of tools on this. And you can see here, one I made years ago, 2 hook handles, rough there, working around this knot, and this is waste. So you cut it about there, and in the centre to make that. Okay, these are all ash. These Bolton ones are probably ash as well. And with use, an occasional bit of vegetable oil to keep it supple, and prevent the elastic wood that is ash from going like this, going really dry and cracking. Use polishes it up. And basically these will be ready in a month or so. And that will go on there, probably on there. And these may well be for sale. I've got plenty in the collection now. Right, that's Billhook Handles.